Hello everyone. People are curious by nature, so they keep looking for new experiences every day. We always want to see something amazing and unusual, but we forget that incredible things are all around us. Seriously, the simplest things can mesmerize us for a couple of minutes. You just need to pay attention or look at them from a different angle. Don't believe us? We guarantee you'll keep rewinding today's video to watch some of those moments again. Let's get it on. Let's begin with a session of hypnosis. Do you recognize these cute fluffy spheres? This coniferous plant is called a thuja. Its huge plantation is located in the mountains of China. Even a slight breeze makes all the bushes move to the beat and creates a funny effect. They look like they're alive, don't they? Surprisingly enough, even the process of making cosmetics can be overwhelmingly exciting. Just look at this alchemy. A couple of drops of water and some strange mix turns into an elastic skin mask. Feels pretty nice to the touch and seems to work great. Can anyone tell us what this thing is made of? If you've always dreamed of seeing quicksand, here's your chance to do it without any risk. This guy found a death trap on one of the beaches in Chicago. It looks as if you're touching an LCD monitor with your finger. By the way, it's almost impossible to get out of the quicksand without help, so we don't recommend repeating such an experiment. Even seemingly ordinary ground can hide a threat. Just look how it wobbles under the feet of these guys like jelly. They were lucky that they didn't drive there on an excavator. There are 3 things that you can watch forever: fire, water, and how glass blowers work. Seriously, isn't it amazing to watch these guys making glass bend and stretch, and then turn it into a real work of art? For example, here's how a volumetric pattern is applied to a vase. Viscous molten glass stretches like caramel, and then the master cuts it off with ordinary scissors. By the way, you need to have very strong lungs for this profession. Just look how puffed the cheeks of this master from China are. As a child, did you fail to build a decent sandcastle too? Let's have a look at the work of a real pro. But beware, the video is a bit too mesmerizing, so you could get stuck watching it all day. This is how the structure looks from the outside, but it still shared the same fate with your castle in the past. A volcanic eruption is of course an amazing sight, but it's quite rare and also quite dangerous. We've got a great alternative: bursting puffball mushrooms in slow motion. After maturation, this mushroom forms a small hole on the top, and if you press it, clouds of spores are ejected in the form of dust. Isn't it like a small volcano? By the way, some of these mushrooms can be quite toxic. Remember to wash your hands if you decide to repeat this trick. We don't know about you, but we love those drinks with the aloe pulp. Turns out that a small piece of leaf is enough for 1 bottle. Who would have thought that this plant is so juicy? Check out how wet the pulp inside is, which this girl hits with a comb for some reason. The result is something like an environmentally friendly slime. Apparently, this is how skincare works in China. There's something special about lying on the couch and watching some complex machinery at work, right? That is why it is time to check the work of a wood lathe. Admire the magic of turning an ordinary piece of wood into a perfectly even ball. A few seconds of sawdust flying around and the bead for the bracelet is ready. The world around us is just full of all sorts of wonders. Just think for a second how amazing it is. A rather ugly-looking caterpillar builds a cocoon, spends some time in there, and then transforms into a magnificent butterfly. In real life, we'd never have enough patience to follow this process from start to finish, so let's say thanks to the scientists. They filmed the entire life cycle of the Monarch butterfly that you now see on the screen. Nature is amazing, isn't it? We forgot to warn the arachnophobes. We're about to see a spider shedding its skin. Here are some fun facts about this spooky yet funny-looking process. First, during molting, the spider not only sheds its old exoskeleton, but it can also rebuild or replace some of its internal organs. Second, if the spider suddenly loses a leg, then 3 to 4 molts later, it'll fully regenerate. Finally, the new exoskeleton takes a few days to harden. Deprived of their shell and partially immobilized arthropods are extremely vulnerable too, so now you know when to attack a spider. Raise your hands those who love painting. You probably know that portrait is one of the most difficult genres. Well, now imagine how skillful you need to be to draw a person's face in one single line without stopping. The result is not some poor sketch, but quite cute caricatures. If you want one, go to Brother Moto in Atlanta. That's where the artist Corey Mast creates unique drawings on the glass for visitors. When you bought pitted frozen berries for a cake or a milkshake, have you ever wondered how companies produce them on an industrial scale? No, thousands of people don't stand on the conveyor and don't cut each berry by hand. Everything is done by this machine, which is quite mesmerizing to watch. The berries get into a special drum with honeycombs, after which a special press squeezes out the pit from any berry. There are special tools for cherries, plums, apricots, and other fruits. Do you think wall clocks aren't trendy anymore? How do you like this work of art then? Every minute, the chaotic movements of the hands in individual dials turn into a picture showing the exact time. Though hanging them at the house is perhaps not the best idea. You can get too carried away by the show and be late. But if you suddenly decide to buy one, you can find it in the English city of Durham, and there's also one that you can try to buy from the New York Museum. Now admire the magical work of perhaps one of the best kitchen appliances of all time, a mechanical apple peeler and apple cutter combined. Honestly, it's worth buying one, even just for fun. We'd eat a load of fruits just to watch them turn into springs over and over again. By the way, the same can be done with potatoes, so this device is very handy. You've got to admit, one of the most mesmerizing things to watch is how a blank sheet of paper turns into a true masterpiece step by step. Like for example, this charcoal portrait, which is so realistic that you can hear that very scream in your head. No, God, please, no.
No, God, please, no, no!
By the way, how long did it take you to guess that would be a meme with Michael Scott from The Office? Why dream of meeting aliens if there are very strange life forms on Earth? Check these things who scared one of the people on the beach in England. Round, transparent droplets turned out to be living creatures. This is the so-called sea gooseberry, a ctenophore species. It's not as primitive as it seems either. This sea jelly has a rather complex nervous system, and even an organ for orientation in space called the elementary brain. Unlike jellyfish, these creatures are harmless and don't sting a person. You can admire them without any risk. The next video is a special treat for all perfectionists. We'll explain what's going on in these frames though. This is how a concrete foundation is prepared for a future warehouse in the United States with an area of more than 47,000 square meters, or 506,000 square feet. You can watch it forever. The concrete's released from the concrete mixer, and then a special leveling machine comes into play. It uses a laser level, so the foundation is perfectly flat. Now the main thing I guess is that no cat runs across it. How to turn a seemingly ordinary thing into a show that you'd want to watch over and over again. It's simple, just use Timelapse. The creator of these videos filmed the process of making a bakery over a week, and it turned out to be a magical experience. Could you imagine that watching dough rising could be that exciting? Do you think the paint spreading across the canvas can make you watch it without blinking an eye? Believe us, it can. The important thing is that this trick must be performed by a real master of his craft. Take a look at what this artist is doing. He puts a small plastic mold on the canvas and gradually fills it with acrylic paints of different shades, which are then mixed into some unimaginable cosmic-looking pattern. Then he stirs it a bit, and that's it. The abstract masterpiece is ready. How could we forget about the thing that makes us look into the sky with delight at any age? By the way, don't forget to make a wish before the end of the countdown. It should come true. Now you have the opportunity to admire not just some ordinary fireworks, but an amazing pyrotechnic show in Dubai. Lights of all colors shoot straight out of the walls of the 2,716-foot tall Burj Khalifa. What could be more beautiful? Did we mention today that time-lapse turns everything into magic? Many events around us are happening so slowly that we simply don't notice them. And you can't even imagine what beautiful sights we miss. Seriously, take a look. Even mushroom growth turns out to be mesmerizing. One more video for those who like the objects on the table to be neatly arranged in the corners, the tiles in the bathroom aligned with each other perfectly, and the picture on the wall not tilted by even 1 degree. This path seems to have accumulated centuries-old dirt, but armed with a pressure washer, the cleaning guys will fix everything now. Isn't it great to watch the path become as good as new with each second? No, this is not footage from a movie about Martians. These animals can be found on our planet. The so-called razor clam is dangerous in the water because it has a sharp-edged shell that can cut your foot if you step on it, but it's completely harmless on land. Moreover, it's considered a delicacy, and the process of catching this creature is very unusual. Take note, this clam digs deep into the sand, and you can get it out of there with the help of ordinary salt. When the clam feels it, it'll immediately come out. Would you dare hold it in your hands? It's always nice watching the work of talented people, especially if they create masterpieces from scraps. This guy only had ordinary wire, a small stick as a tool, and a plastic bottle cap. See how he gradually turns this stuff into a wonderful little tree. It's so nice that it can even be placed at home as a decoration. Admit it, you thought that it was aerial footage of some unusual volcano, right? You must have also fallen for a trick that nature so skillfully pulled off. In fact, this is a stunningly beautiful hot spring that gushes out of the ground in the mountains of Tibet. Various chemical elements give it a specific color. By the way, the water in it is really very hot. If you haven't noticed, the author of the video is boiling an egg in it. Do you think the fastest food to cook in the world is instant noodles or instant soup? They still require a couple of minutes to cook, so they're far behind this weird delicacy. Watch closely. A bunch of sticks goes into the pot, then rise to the surface and end up on the table. It took just a few seconds. We will not tell you what kind of food it is, just share your ideas in the comments. Deep-fried pasta with vegetables doesn't sound like a masterpiece, does it? In fact, it all depends on the presentation. Cooking is also a form of art. Take a look at how the master transforms these simple ingredients into a wonderful, edible bouquet. First, you need to fry the stem, then carefully put it into the oil, add the sauce. Well, you won't remember it right away. Besides, you'll probably watch this video many times. The most impressive paintings you can admire endlessly are created by nature. This hot spring is located near the city of Mangya in Qinghai province and is called the Demon's Eye. Sulfur paints it in bright colors, and it really seems like it stares right into your soul. By the way, not far from the lake, there's a Mars modeling base, an educational camp for everyone who is infatuated with Mars. As you may have noticed, this area has a landscape and climate similar to those observed on the Red Planet. Even making bread can be a real show. So exciting, you won't be able to take your eyes off it. At least when it comes to the naan bread. If you didn't know how this Indian dish is prepared and served, now is the time to learn. First, the cake is fried over an open fire, then soaked with fat and sprinkled with many spices, and then served with one precise toss. Now you'll see footage from one of the duck farms. It seems it could be an answer to all the problems bothering you. Do you need energy and strength? See how the ducks scatter in all directions along the coast, looking for peace and tranquility. Watch hundreds of ducks swimming as your stress goes away. Well, if you need to be in harmony with the world, here's a good video. Yellow ducklings slowly wandering through the grass. Try it, it works. Just to remind you, in GTA Vice City, you could use a cheat code that would enable your car to drive on water. If you've forgotten what that looked like, here's the footage that will send you on a nostalgia trip. This, by the way, is not some computer graphics. This is what the road in the Lianyungang Prefecture looks like during the rainy season. One wrong move could send the car to the bottom, but for some reason, this video is pretty calming. Hold on a second. Do you want to see some crazy stories from real life? Nothing dull, only action, only adventures, chases and fights, love confessions and sudden betrayals. Don't believe us? Well, follow the link and see for yourselves. Our animation channel Private Diary reveals the deepest secrets. Don't forget to subscribe.